I'm chewing a little bum.
I got you.
Okay.
Guys, we haven't done a podcast in a little while. And the Mercato, I think today took like a crazy turn.
Yeah.
And we needed some people to come over here and talk about it. We've got Dybala, who's joining Roma. We've got Bremer, who is between Inter and Juventus. And they're saying now it looks even more likely that he would go to Juventus than to Inter. We've got Koulibaly, who left the league and went to Chelsea. We got Ligt, your favorite player, Ligt, who went to Bayern Munich. And some other stuff to discuss. Well, I think we'll hop right into it.
Okay, let's go, Mike. Mike, you start. Mike, go ahead.
First of all, guys, we didn't do this in so long. Everyone's been asking for a podcast, and I'm happy we got the clan around here. I feel like we haven't seen Peter in 20 years, so happy to be here.
Did I age much?
You always look the same.
You look great.
By the way, he's always busy. Busy doing what? Watching games.
Well, that's his job.
What a busy job.
What can I do?
I love that.
MLS,
Pete,
USL.
Can you
games
hire
in
me
the area.
to watch games with you, Pete? I want to watch games.
If you find me the next Casano,
oh my God,
you're under
I
my
got
wing.
Plenty of Casano.
Hey, I put you in contact with the kid that we met in Toronto. It was a kid that we were playing with,
good?
and he was so good. Yeah, Sebastian.
He was also playing with us too.
No, but he was 16 years old. He plays with the 19-year-old.
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta look at
I was taking a look
So,
already.
I told
good
him
academy.
we made a deal. I get 50%
spoke
of
to-
his salary for the next 15 years if he
This
signs.
guy is sold his soul to the devil.
Literally.
Yeah, he was like, okay. He's like, yeah, just get Peter to sign me.
Sign this napkin.
All right, Peter, we'll start with you since the topic has been revolved around you. This week has been interesting because it went from Inter was really the only team besides like Monza that was so active on the Mercato early on.
Yep.
Right, you brought in Lukaku. It seemed like you were going to seal a deal for Bremer and with Dybala, who was like talking points for a long time. Dybala, we know for sure is not going to go to Inter anymore. He's going to Roma. He did his medicals. Tomorrow is probably going to be the official announcement. And Bremer is one of the guys that's still a toss-up, but it's looking more like he'll go to Juventus, and we'll break down the news. My question for you is, how do you judge the situation right now with Inter? Are they in a weird place? Has Marotta messed up? Or do you think that the deals kind of fell through because you weren't able to sell Skriniar or Sanchez, all those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he messed up per se. I think more so just how the market kind of evolved. And we knew that for Inter to be able to make certain acquisitions, they would have to have certain players leave. I think at this point, I was worried about Skriniar leaving. Talks have kind of calmed down. Not to say it won't happen because this, even though the season is going to start early, the transfer market is still going to end the usual time in the end of August, early September. So there is a chance that you do lose out on Skriniar. But I definitely think that Inter, when it comes to Bremer and Dybala, took a little too long in making the moves happen. In part, like I said, like Sanchez, I think was a major part of the reason why Dybala didn't come right away, because they had to make sure that they were able to get his salary off. And I guess they were just waiting, and they felt they were in a good position to get him. But Roma came in with an offer, and I think there is the Mourinho effect there in order to get a player to play with you. I think also Inter, by going after Lukaku, in a 3-5-2, you have Lautaro, Lukaku. Those are going to be your starters. So where do you fit Dybala? And in the overall tactics, I mean, he might not be a perfect fit, even though I would love to have Dybala for his pure class and ability. And then Bremer, I think now with Juventus, right, the fact that they have the cash, they have 80 million to play with. They just sold the Ligt. They can make an outstanding offer to Torino and beat Inter to Bremer, because also that's a serious need. I mean, the next player is Bonucci and Gatti. Gatti, just coming from Serie B, had a great season, but is he ready to take Juventus's throne? I don't know. And Bremer, already we know he's one of the most young, exciting, and he was a really good defender last year with Torino. Yeah, so Inter not making those moves in the defense, they're stuck in a standstill. And in the end, it might hurt, because if you do sell Skriniar, now you have to run. You have to run and scramble to find somebody.
Scrambled eggs. That's Antonio's new nickname.
Oh, really?
Here, by the way.
Why? What happened?
When he's playing foosball, sometimes he loses the ball and his brain gets all scrambled. Just real quick to say the news, because I realized that I didn't say it for Bremer. The latest from Sky Italia is saying that Inter did have this sort of agreement with Bremer where he would have joined. They didn't have an agreement with Torino yet. They are offering 30 million, and Juventus are able to go to 40 million because, as you said, they're able to have this cash that's free, and Inter doesn't have the cash because they didn't sell Skriniar, they didn't sell anyone yet. So Juventus are easier. It's easier move for Juventus to make. And I just read Romeo Gresti just a couple minutes ago said that Juventus have overtaken Bremer, and tomorrow will be like a big day for what happens. Now, Antonio, you haven't spoken, which makes me very scared because usually you're jumping in and you're very fiery.
I'm just having so much fun just listening to you guys.
What's fun about it?
Okay, what's fun? Okay, just go.
Without going too far, like
Without
stay
going
on the
too
topic
far.
that we're on.
On the topic, okay. First of all, I think the whole topic has been evolving in the last couple of years about the value of some of those big guns. So initially, Koulibaly was rated a $100 million player, right? So wow, I said everyone 100 million.
Well, first off, the age difference is.
What do you mean age difference? We're talking about 1 or 2. Quite 1 or 2 years ago, it was $100 million, right?
Well, so, it's a lot different when you're 29 years old.
Then we go from 100 to $38 million.
I said keep on topic. This
Okay.
guy
Change topic.
Okay, now we go to the Ligt. The Ligt was another one that they were supposed to be making so much money. Guess what? I think they made a big mistake buying to shell the kind of money that they're paying Juventus right now. And then Bremer, for me, it's much better than Ligt, because let me tell you something. Ligt has made plenty of mistakes this year. I don't think he's got the leadership skill to take Juventus to the next level, and I don't think he's worth the money that this Bayern is spending on. So well done. If you guys really get Bremer, it's a great acquisition. I would love to have Bremer on AC Milan. The only problem we have too many talents on AC Milan right now, where we actually don't need him. We have Tomori, we have Kalulu, we have Keijer or Ketchup, whatever you guys like to call him. Kyer, that is coming back. That is coming back healthy. And then we have Florenzi, we have Calabria, we have access to defense.
Anto, this topic was Inter.
Okay, the Inter.
One second. We'll go to the Ligt. It's fine because you brought up the. I was gonna go to this eventually anyway.
Okay.
With the Ligt, right? So the news is saying that he already flew to Munich. It's gonna be 70 million plus 10 million of easy bonuses, so it's gonna be 80 million. Juventus paid around 75, so more or less breaking even. Slightly profiting. Who knows? Didn't really work out because considering that he came from Ajax with massive expectations. I mean, one of the world's best center backs that year with Ajax, where they made that Champions League run. I had other things, but okay, we'll go straight to yours. Mike, do you think that Juventus are making, in the end, Juventus will make a good move because they're selling him for 80 million. They're able to replace him with Bremer, who in the immediate future, if we just talk about next season, is probably more developed and a better player. He's 25 years old, a little bit more experience, had this Serie A reputation. You think Juventus, this might actually work in favor for Juventus?
In the beginning, I was against selling the Ligt, but obviously if you want to go, you can't force a player to go. But I mean, I got to give it a Juve. They're managing to snatch it out of Inter's paws right now, getting him for half the price of the Ligt, who's already a player that's ready to jump in and could be a starter for this Juventus side. And with other half the money, if they manage to get another decent player, say in midfield or where else they need help in, I think this would be a win-win for Juventus. And in the beginning, I was skeptical. I was like, Juve are making a mistake. But you get in Bremer, someone that's proven, half the price, and you still get leftover money to help your team. If they manage to get another player on top of this, I would give this 2 thumbs up for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a good analysis because I sort of felt the same way. And I think it comes back to like the expectations when the Ligt went to Juventus, right? And it does bring the topic, like, was he a failure at Juve? Where did it go wrong? Because he came in, like I said, with these expectations. Yeah. And as much as we can blame, and I think there is blame from Juventus' side, on not putting a great team around him, at the same time, we never saw that same De Ligt that we did from Ajax. And as Antonio mentioned, there were lots of mistakes. We remember the handballs early on. Yeah. Even in the past season, lots of
penalties.
Times that he went in without really thinking. And he's 22 years old. He'll definitely develop. But he never really raised in his value. So for a player that wants to leave, I don't know, break down the situation.
For me, I mean, especially for defenders, I think Juventus getting 80 million, you have to sell. Whenever a center back goes for that amount.
They paid that.
Dude,
but what I'm trying to say is Juventus, when they first went after him, that was an outrageous number to spend. And I think Juventus at the time were like, this is going to be a guy that's going to be there for 10 years. Exactly. We're going to spend the money. And we're going to win, right? We're looking to win Champions League, and this is a young guy that we're going to be able to have to be our next center back. like Marco said, he had some rough patches, and I think you have to kind of understand it also because the Italian league, I'm not saying it's superior or better than another league, but especially when it comes to tactics, it is a very tactical game, and then especially in the center back position, it's so important positioning and being able to read the game, and I think that's something that's going to come with the years. Like you said, he's 22 years old, so he's got plenty of time as a center back, which is usually one of the last positions to really develop. If we look into Italy, I think a lot of people are familiar with Barzagli. Barzagli was, I'm not going to say a scrub, but wasn't a very good defender in his early 20s. Goes to Germany, becomes a champion, comes back to Juventus, and really dominates the league at a much older age. So, I think it was just more so Juventus saying, hey, this is 80 million for a center back. We can take that money, spend only half or close to half for Bremer, who's equally as good maybe at this point of his career, and we could also have more money to play with.
And
I'll give you a take. Let me tell you just
one second. The one funny thing, to bring up the topic though, you said that Juventus saw him as the guy for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
When I interviewed him and I was in Torino with Juventus, it was very much the motto for Juventus that don't call this guy a kid anymore. He is our player. He's the leader. They saw him in that way, but he saw the opposite. He saw a time that he needed to move. My only pushback to that, which is like Mike said it perfect, like if a player wants to leave, you're going to have to end up letting them leave. My only thing is this is probably the worst timing for Ligt to leave.
Yeah.
Just because the teams around him, I agree that they were not good, but this is probably a Juventus side that's growing, that has it's completely built for Juventus to try to win next year.
Yeah.
The signings of Pogba, Di Maria, all of these champions that have the experience. My only question to Ligt is your contract doesn't expire next year. It expires in 2024. Why not wait a year and then see if you feel better in Torino?
I think, Marco, you're talking as a Juventus fan right now. You're not talking objectively as somebody that is looking at the
situation. But I agree that it's okay to sell him for this.
Let me just say something to you guys, okay? This Ligt is the best thing that Juventus has done by selling him. I think in the beginning they saw a lot of this potential from this guy here to develop, to continue into his development by just keep climbing to the top of the scale leadership, but it's not. So immediately they gave up on him. They saw the same thing on Dybala. Dybala on and off, did not guarantee the same shit. And this Marotta and the Juventus manager, it is always a back and forth. I said, oh, you screwed me with this, I'm going to try to screw you with somebody else. Hold on, let me get to my point. Dybala didn't want to go to Inter because of...
Okay, we're talking about the league.
Ando, you gotta focus on one subject.
Ligt is over. Ligt is gone.
No, but I would say
Ligt is gone.
But
Ligt is gone. It's the best thing that they did to sell him. Now.
Juventus' problem was not the defense. If you look at the stats, Juventus had one of the best defense. I don't know the exact numbers right now because it's been a while.
Number 4.
No,
that's not one of the best.
I disagree.
We were number 1.
I disagree.
Napoli
if
was
we can
number
check
2,
on the
Inter
last,
number 3,
it's
maybe
impossible.
Juventus number 4.
It's impossible.
Number 1 defense.
Defense?
Yes. Go double check.
We're gonna double check. I think that's false. I think that's false. I think it's false. But they were one of the best. The problem with Juventus was the ability to score and their attacking play, the style of play. But the Ligt, for me, was not a problem. I think there's a multiple of factors here where you have 80 million coming in, and you can find this substitute player that you evaluate and you say, hey, this is just as good for a lot less, and we have more money to play with. And 2, the player wanting to leave maybe, because there was already discussion.
I told you that they're fourth.
They were 4th best defense.
I
was surprised.
No,
but I would have thought.
Inter,
I would have thought a little bit higher. I would have thought a little bit higher.
You would have thought.
I would have thought.
I hate stats. I hate stats, but this is the way the things are.
No.
I think Juventus saw that if they kept the Ligt an extra year, his value would have gone
Milan
further
first
down.
defense?
Let me tell you.
Could be because it's
If Juventus had to keep, was forced to keep the Ligt for an extra year, I didn't have this buyer going too crazy.
No, you don't.
To offer $80 million, the Ligt will have gone down in value. Number 1.
Yes.
Okay. So Bremer is the best thing that they do. I hope they get Bremer. I mean, not because I want Bremer. I don't care because he's not coming to AC Milan anyway. I'd rather Juventus to go to Bremer to go to Juventus than Inter. And Inter, they better sell this Skriniar ASAP because Skriniar is not as good as what you guys think.
Are you crazy?
Let me tell you something.
Skriniar's the best defender. Skriniar's the best defender on Inter.
Oh yeah?
Yes.
Okay, I thought it was Bastoni the best defender. Okay, so no, it's Skriniar the best defender. Okay, all right.
Who would they replace him with now if Bremer's not there? If they sell Skriniar, then they're in a pickle.
Well, there are plenty of young defenders that are not big names. You can $20 million, $30 million in Europe. You can find a very good defender. There are plenty. There are plenty out there. There are plenty.
But I just want to say really quickly.
You guys are always fixating on the big names. Big names.
I just want to say quickly that I feel like a lot of Juventini in general, I feel like they turn on the Ligt. And yes, you could say you spend a lot of money and stuff like that. But I think the league came in a kind of weird time. And I agree with what Marco said, where he left in kind of the best time where he should have stayed. But he was also there at a time when the defense wasn't really settled. You know, the fullbacks weren't the best. He didn't have he either had Chiellini and Bonucci as a center back partner. It was never a steady.
Rugani also.
It was always swapping, so you never really built that real chemistry. So yeah, you could say he made mistakes, came to a new league, whatever. But it's hard if you don't have like that solid defense that you always know and stuff like that. So just backing him up a little bit, just like that. Yeah, I guess he made mistakes. Yes, he's expensive. Should have done maybe a little bit better, but I think he would have turned out to be that fantastic defender that we all expected him to be.
Well, he doesn't want to stay. Guys, the move that I'm most excited about, and the move that I was so surprised, I never would have expected this when we talked about months ago. Dybala is joining Roma. It's official, almost official. He flew to Portugal. He's done his medical test. They said he passed his medical. So here's been the situation. It's been a weird summer for Dybala. He went from this player that, ousted at Juventus, thought that he would have had more teams probably lined up for him. Inter kept him on standby as they were trying to sort their own issues. And he was kind of in a situation until this past week where only Napoli and Roma offered him opportunities to get a team and to start training with them now that preseason is over and holidays are over. Preseason is starting and holidays are over. I'm sorry. Roma offered 6 million euros with bonuses all tied in, 3-year contract, and a key role in the team, a key center project, which I think is the key part to this entire thing. Napoli offered, as they said, a little bit more money. I think their 6 million was secure without bonuses, but Napoli control imaging rights, and for Dybala, that's a lot of money at stake. He did not want to give up his imaging rights, and from what I understand, I think that he didn't fit Napoli as well as he fit Roma. Giuntoli even said that we have a 4-3-3 formation, and that wouldn't really fit for Spalletti's style, and we don't want to change everything. So he is going to Roma. I never would have expected this to happen, but first reaction, what do you guys think?
I think AC Milan, I'm a little bit disappointed. Because AC Milan, initially there were rumors that AC Milan would get inside. The rumors was that even AC Milan was on Dybala in the beginning. But just looking from the outside world, forget about it, which fans are we, I think Dybala made the right decision. Because in Italy we say, tutti mi vogliono e nessuno mi prende. Everybody's wants me, but nobody takes me. So at some point, I think he's starting to get into his head. And then he said, you know what? Mourinho calls me. I'm the center of the project. I'm going to be having a key role into this team. I'm going. And plus Roma and Torino, they're not really, Roma is not as big as Torino come Piazza, but Roma is not a small town. Roma, you are on the center. The lasers are all focused on you when you're playing in Rome. And let me tell you something, especially if it is going to be given the number 10.
He's
and Totti,
he's taking 21.
Doesn't matter. So, but Totti told him that if you want it, that's yours. You don't have to ask
he didn't want to take
anything.
the 10.
Yeah. So anyway,
I respect that.
Dybala, I think he did the right thing. So he took a lot less money and he signed for a team that it's not going to be demanding him to bring them to the campionato, to the winning the campionato, to the Champions League. They want quality soccer over there. They got the ownership. I think I applaud them. They're doing a great job. Yeah. They got Dybala, and this is the biggest signing that they got from. They needed to fix their defense, but they are on the right track right now.
I've never agreed with you more. You still almost everything you said. Everything you said I completely agree with.
Yeah.
I think Rome was the perfect place for Dybala. Because as it's been explained to me and as I've experienced even in Roma, they make you feel even bigger than you are. And they love you. And they're going to treat a player like Dybala like a king. And I think for him, he kind of needs to go back to that. I don't think Inter, Juventus, those kind of places where there's a lot of stars, there's a lot of players that want the ball. I think that he needed a position where he could be the man.
Yeah.
He could be the one that also has less pressure, as you said. I think the level is right for him to take this a year, take 2 years, and see how you develop at Roma and have a coach that's really going to build around you. You're not just going to be plopped into a system and then let's see what happens. Because that's what happened a lot of time with Juventus. It was like he wasn't really given a specific role or position. Now it will really be built around him, which I think is a key aspect. And I applaud Dybala for taking Roma, and I applaud the ownership. I mean, the freaking group. I love them. They say nothing. They're so silent, but they make moves. And the first thing that they did by getting Mourinho was so great, because even him calling Dybala up and saying, hey, this is what we're doing, it says a lot about their expectations.
I think,
go ahead, Mike.
I think for this whole first of all, ever since Friedkin came in, we're all skeptical, saying, "Oh, hopefully it works out. Roma deserve, a second chance, something to give back to their fans." And ever since they came, they brought in Mourinho. A lot of people were skeptical, saying, "Will he be the one?" After a successful season, they won their first ever European trophy, and now Mourinho is being rewarded with a great player for a great first season back to Serie A. And now you're going to have someone like Paulo Dybala, who's going to be the center of the project, just like Marco was talking. I am so shocked. I'm so surprised by this. But I was so excited with Mourinho going in, and now I'm even more excited for the next season for Roma, because I just feel like this is like a perfect fairy tale, like love story for Roma, Mourinho. Now Dybala's going there, and I'm just... we already know how.
Listen, by reflection, Pete, we don't know what Zaniolo's situation is going to be right now.
Yeah, things could change. No, I'm saying, first off, Dybala as a Serie A fan, it's great, because you're now having a top player playing in a Roma team. Now there's going to be added competition, I think. And even though you say they're not expected to win the championship, mark my words, Mourinho, this is his second year. He wants.
Wait.
I'm not saying.
You're saying they're going to win this.
No, I didn't say that.
Do they compete for the
They're going to push for it. They're going to push for it. If they're going to push for the Scudetto.
We got a title.
What's push?
Okay. No, but I'm saying they're going to push for the Scudetto. I think it's going to be.
No way.
Last year was entertaining. I think. No, but listen. I think Roma. I think Roma takes over Napoli right now, because Napoli until now have been very disappointing in getting. I understand they're not getting the big names. Maybe some of these smaller name guys that we don't know are going to pull out, but and be good for Napoli. But I think Roma overtake that team and can push for easily Champions League. And who knows, with Mourinho, I feel that he can always push for the Scudetto. That's my take. But going to Dybala now. So I think for Dybala, last year he had a poor season, injuries, not really playing up to standards. So he's not going to track that big number. He's not going to get that contract. And then most of those contracts are going to be paid by English clubs. No one else has that money to be able to spend. So his expectations of a salary, I think his refusal with Juventus, I don't know the exact details, but maybe him not lowering his wages, I think was more in principle than anything else. And maybe that the fact that he wanted to be the star of a project. Roma, it's a no-brainer for the amount of money that is reported. Like, this is a star that you take eyes closed. And being able to take this player for that amount of money, I think is a steal. If he's healthy, Dybala is a dangerous player, and he gets at least 15 to 20 goals, I think, with this Roma team.
Big if.
Wow.
If he's healthy.
One other thing, just to add on about Juventus, it's great that you mentioned that. I still see everyone still talk about this, like he's taking less money at Roma than he would have at Juventus, but it's actually not the situation. I mean, everyone has clarified that. Juventus and Dybala, they came to an agreement. It was at $8 million in October, and they said that for accounting reasons, they needed to sign the contracts in February. Come January, Juventus got Vlahovic. Their plans completely changed, and Juventus did not make an offer to renew Dybala. Arriva Bene, the CEO, said, we don't want to insult him with what we're going to say. They clearly said that he is not part of the Juventus project, so he's not taking less money to go to Roma instead of Juventus. He was completely out at Juventus. They kicked him out. They said, we don't want to have anything to do with you. Find another team. What position do you think Dybala plays at Roma now?
Well, I think he's probably going to be overlapping himself a little bit, stepping on each other's foot with Zaniolo if Roma keeps Zaniolo again. But Dybala is not the typical guy that he can find his own niche on the field, on the attacking position. I just hope that Mourinho does not sacrifice Dybala into the defensive part of the game. I think Dybala should be the palleggiatore that is going to get the ball from the defense. It's going to make things happen. If the team is attacking, Dybala can just score, can just take the free kick, can take the punizione, can score from a free kick, can do a lot of stuff. Zaniolo has to learn how to not share his position. He has to learn how to work with him, because it's not about sharing. It's like if Dybala is too far on the right, Zaniolo moves to the middle. If Zaniolo is too far, is too closer to the middle, Dybala knows what to do. Those are champions, not Zaniolo. For me, Dybala is a champion. You don't have to tell him what to do. Dybala, he will find his own position, and Mourinho is not going to try to say here. He's not going to try to use the remote control. Dybala will have the freedom to just, rummage around the field.
I don't know what that word is.
Yeah, that was rummage. Yeah,
Is that a word?
Rummage. Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that a word?
It's like a ship. It's like a sheep that
Rummage.
goes eating grass wherever they want.
A ship?
A sheep or
Sheep.
a
Sheep.
Oh, I thought you
Sheep.
said a ship.
sheep.
So Dybala shall not be sacrificed.
Shall not be.
Sacrificed to play defense. So if the grande, they call him
Sounds
the
like the Ten
greatest one.
Commandments.
If my friend
Shall
Mourinho, that he has a picture with Marco on his Instagram overlooking the Colosseum, is watching this podcast, Jose. Jose. Do not sacrifice Dybala playing defense. Dybala è un palleggiatore alla Cassano. Okay.
I think he's going to remain. He's going to be that 10. We saw already with Allegri, he doesn't track back.
Allegri
So,
forced him to
no, but
play
I'm saying
deep.
we saw already with Allegri, he doesn't track back. That's not going to be his position. So he's going to be that second striker, the 10. And I think he's going to have like a Mkhitaryan
Even
role, I guess,
falso
what we
nueve,
saw.
you can use him as a
Like,
falso nueve.
Yeah, but you have Tammy. You're not going to use
Don't
a falso
worry about
nueve.
Tammy.
I think a second striker would probably be best.
That's
for
his
Dybala,
position, yeah.
So he stays a little bit closer to goal. I do think that Zaniolo will end up leaving, so it just leaves Pellegrini in that role to play right behind them. So it will be Pellegrini and then Tammy and Dybala up top. And I think it would work out really well, actually.
I think you got to. I think it's got to be like he's probably gonna play a 3-man back line, 3-4-2-1. You play two behind Tammy. You can't take Pellegrini. He had a fantastic season, so he has to play behind the striker. And I think Dybala is probably best behind the striker. Maybe a little bit
Either
higher if
way.
you want to
So
play him.
Dybala and Pellegrini and then
Tammy
Abraham.
in front.
That's
I
fine
think,
too.
So personally, that's why
but
I
that
think.
that kicks Zaniolo off
Yeah,
the team.
I don't think Zaniolo's
And
gonna stay.
if I'm Roma, honestly, if any of the teams actually offer 40 to 50 million, right now you just got a great replacement.
Exactly.
Zaniolo is not, in my opinion, is not needed at Roma, and the fact that we're even finding formations without him in it and he's still in the team,
That says everything.
it leads me to believe that I think they'll be fine without him, and they could use that money to buy another midfielder like
Center
Fratesi
back.
and some defenders who would actually really help the team. So let's go around real quick. Peter said that Roma's going to win the Scudetto.
No, I didn't say that.
Where does everyone else think that they'll finish?
But first of all, you guys already, even the Corriere, the Gazzetta, they said Inter first, Juventus second, and then Napoli third, Milan fourth. Milan third, and then maybe Napoli, Roma
My simple
fourth.
question to you
So
is,
what
where
is
do you
it-
see
where's
Roma
Roma
finishing?
Where do I see Roma? I see Roma fourth or fifth again. I'm sorry.
As it stands now, Mercato still didn't finish. We don't know what
Mercato's
Napoli's
crazy.
doing.
They got no
We
defense.
don't know what Napoli's doing. Who knows? They can get Ronaldo tomorrow. But if it ends like this, Roma fourth, I think.
Roma fourth.
Yeah.
And Roma
Yeah,
first.
fourth.
over here.
Roma first over
Champ-
here.
Mark,
Champions
what'd you
League.
say?
Fourth.
Champions
First,
League?
first,
No, I would say fifth,
Yeah,
fourth or fifth.
they'll
Okay.
be fighting for a Champions League, I think. Really great move. Great
Yeah, that
move.
was great.
What else we got? All right, we talked about the Ligt because we already jumped to that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Koulibaly. Sad
Oh, man.
that Koulibaly is leaving Serie A. Sad that he's leaving Napoli. I know your thoughts, Antonio. So let us be sad for a minute. He's going to Chelsea for 40 million euros, and he'll be getting 10 million a year. Interesting situation
Good for
with
him.
Koulibaly. If we explain what's happened, at first De Laurentiis was offering him almost half of his salary to extend, to renew, which is obviously was not okay from Koulibaly. Now, as things went on, he did raise an offer. He was giving him, I think, 6 million a year, around there. He was going to offer him, but Koulibaly did not want to take it. It wasn't about the money. He wanted a different air. He wanted to move on from Napoli. He wanted an experience in the Premier League, which he had been rejecting for a couple of years now. And he goes to Chelsea, where he'll try to fight for titles and he'll try to fight for really important things at 31 years old. Koulibaly, for me, I'll say it, one of my favorite players in Serie A since he's joined. I mean, over the years, on the field and off the pitch, the guy is an exemplary professional. I mean, he always put his head down. He worked. No matter what changes he had around him in Napoli, no matter which coaches came in, the guy always fought. For me, one of the best defenders in the world. I don't care what anyone says. Over these past couple of years, he's always been at the top. And I think now that he has all these eyeballs on him in the Premier League, people will realize how good Koulibaly really is. And I wish him, he's one of the guys that I really wish the best because he deserves it. Hold on. You're very negative, so
I'm not negative.
let us go first.
I have my opinion. I don't have to be negative or positive.
You're negative.
It's not an AC Milan
You're
player
neutral.
or an
You're
Napoli player,
neutral.
whatever.
No, first of all, Koulibaly, he's a class act. Like you said, on and off the field. Even in his message, in his Instagram, thanking Napoli, it shows the love that he really gained through all those years at Napoli. And listen, he was a leader, maybe a silent leader of this Napoli team, but his defending, I think, really brought joy to a lot of people that enjoy that dark art, I guess, the defending Italian presence that you would envision Serie A. I think Koulibaly is able to show that, right? Because no, I'm serious. The physicality, the physicality that he has, the speed, the grit. I mean, he was amazing. You were claiming before, how does he go from 100 million to 40 million? For a defender, especially like Marco said, 1 year left on his contract, 31, not 29. There's a lot of factors that pushed that number way down.
Also wanting to leave.
Exactly.
And then listen, I think also Koulibaly sees what's happening in Napoli. It's a phase where they're starting to regroup, right? A lot of players, Mertens, Insigne, now Koulibaly. These are guys that have been there for a long time, and now you have to have a change of guard. So he saw that, and I think he said, you know what, Chelsea, with a new owner, spending money, going to the Premier League, 10 million a year net. I mean, he had to choose Chelsea.
Mike?
No, Koulibaly, to me, we can go on and on how, one of our favorite players, legend of the Serie A.
One of your favorite players, not our favorite.
Okay, whatever. We'll keep it like that. But he did more than enough at Napoli. He stayed there. He's been saying he's not a Napolitano. The people really embraced him. All that stuff.
Yeah, and then the first chance he left.
Not the first chance.
he
He had
left.
so many
That
offers
is
from
not
different
accurate at all.
teams. He could have went to another Serie A team. Juve were interested. So many other teams were interested. He respected Napoli by going to another league. He did. I think it was time to turn a new chapter for Koulibaly. As people were saying, it was like a different cycle going in, getting older. And now he's gonna, he's getting the bag now. Good for him. He's getting 10 million a season, which is incredible for him. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm looking at you like that.
Leave him, Mike.
I'm not saying anything.
I just want to add one thing to you, and I would say in Napoli, there were a lot of, for Insigne, people that were happy and people that were sad. For Koulibaly, everybody was sad.
Yeah.
Except this guy.
Exactly.
Guys,
he's not from Napoli.
It's my turn. All right. Guys, first of all, I don't judge a player by the social media, whatever he does on the social media, on and off the field and all the stuff. Number one. Number two, whatever you do on the field, it's what your values.
And he was top.
1 second. Slow down. Okay, as far as Koulibaly keeping his word and then his loved and all the stuff, the fact that he didn't go to Juventus because Juventus cannot promise the money that Chelsea has given to him. Number one. Number two. This is a market, Mike. You know what a market is? You take the money, you put it on your pocket, you go over there, you go shopping. If you can afford it, you buy it. If you can't, you don't buy it.
What are we talking about?
No, I'm talking. Let me finish. The market situation in Europe is that money talks. In Italy, the money is not there. That's why Italian clubs are forced to sell or to let some of those superstars go.
So what do you think about him leaving?
Why am I thinking about leaving?
What do you think about him leaving?
He
Napoli?
did the right thing. Did
Napoli do the right thing?
No, actually they did. Actually, you know what? I should have let if De Laurentiis would have sold him last year or 2 years ago, would probably even been better. It would probably monetize a lot more and spend those money to buy something just within the same caliber or even better. But But it is what it is. De Laurentiis needs to be applauded because the guy, you don't want to get. First of all, he cannot keep him. His contract was about to expire next year, right? So if you cannot keep somebody, why you trying to give a lot more money to somebody like Koulibaly and then starting some sort of a rift inside of the locker room? I said, why are you giving all the money to him? What happened with us? What happened with the bigger superstars that are still there over there? And there are 3 or 4 of them, all midfielders. Okay, so
my pushback to you is like, and open discussion about where does Napoli go from here?
They have no future right now. Napoli for me, it's a 6th or 7th place team right now.
No, relax.
Napoli is a 6th or 7th place team right now, as we speak. For what they bought and what the perspective of bringing other players into the team. Napoli for me, nothing. They don't have a chance. It's a 6th or 7th place. Just mark my word. Then they will see a year from now whether I was right or wrong. But Napoli, unfortunately, and fortunately at the same time, because I think De Laurentiis, down the line, he wants to sell this team. He wants to sell the team. For him to let Insigne go, no, he's letting Koulibaly. It's not because he's letting them go. He can afford them.
What do you think?
You cannot afford to keep people at the salary that they've been offered by other teams. You can't.
What do I think about what?
Where do you think Napoli goes from
I think it's going to be sold.
Like I said, it's a change of guard. I think obviously the team has lost a lot of quality this season, this summer. So there's a little more time left to make some additions. We've seen in the past Napoli make these no-name acquisitions, and it worked out. And I mean, Koulibaly was one of them. Anguissa is another one. Mertens. So I mean, I'm sure that they can maybe make a couple of acquisitions. But in the same time, you're losing that core. So I do think that now it's going to be a rebuild for a couple of years. And listen, I'm not saying they go down to 6th or 7th place, but I wouldn't be surprised at this current moment if they do fall into that, that position, because just they haven't spent the money. They lost a lot of players. And in order to compete, you're going to have to spend a little bit, and you have to get the better players. That in the end, that's what counts.
I think you said it well. I think that it's just like for a team that got into Champions League, we probably would have expected something else. You did make a great point. I think Napoli's done an amazing job. Like even the new kid, Kvara,
yeah.
Who in Italy, I was listening to the commentary. They call him Kappa. But he said that you could call him Kava, right?
Yeah.
Kvara.
Also, they got.
So he looks really good. Like if you watch his last highlights, he looks like a baller, and it makes me think like Napoli is so good at finding midfielders. It's actually unbelievable. With Fabian Ruiz, Anguissa, Jorginho over the years, they're able to find these players that do so well and outperform their name, their transfer fee, all of that kind of stuff. So this guy, I'm telling you, you got to watch out for him because he looks good.
And they also just signed Osegaard today. He was from Genoa. Yes. He played on loan in the Prem. We got to still see how he is. But hopefully he wouldn't be the main replacement for Koulibaly, and they're going to get another center back to help out in that depth. But
they should go for, I think Milenkovic would be a good option for Napoli because he's a little bit more low cost. And he knows Serie A. I think he's a little bit underrated as well. So I think he could be one. If Inter don't go for him or if Juventus don't go for him, I think Napoli should they have the money now, make the push to get him and try to reinforce him.
He might not go anywhere because I think Fiorentina's got another big project. They might want to keep Milenkovic because Joe Barone is very big on Milenkovic. I'm telling you.
You lead me to a great point. And what's been on my mind
right now... Milan likes Milenkovic too. No, just Fiorentina might give him, but now... Joe, if you have to give it to somebody, just give it to us. Forget about those two guys. Just give it to AC Milan.
So the whole conversation we've been having is so interesting, right? Because Serie A last year was the best that I can remember in a long time. Milan finished in first place, so we say they're the best team. Look at how many of these other teams are increasing in quality on the transfer market. You mentioned it with Dybala going to Roma, which balances things out. Juventus look like they're back to try to compete. Inter brought in Lukaku, which maybe that was their one downfall, was not having a number 9. Lazio is even making some low-key good signings that could fit in well. Fiorentina bringing in Jovic and Golini and Mandragora. Like the teams are actually looking really good. If we had such a good Serie A last year, how good is this season going to be? Where now it's going to be extremely hard to peel the onion of what's actually going to happen. It's so hard to predict.
I think overall, all the teams are getting more balanced out. There's great players spread out amongst the teams overall, not just like the bigger teams and stuff. So I think it's going to be a much more competitive, even than last season, for this upcoming season. So much more excitement and
I seen
drama.
I seen Fiorentina doing better than last year because of the quality that they have on the midfield. And even on the forward line, believe me. I mean, they let that kid go over there. What was his name? No, Vlahovic. Forget about Vlahovic. Torreira, whatever his name. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but
Piatek also.
Well,
listen.
now they got Jovi.
Yeah, Jovic.
Fiorentina with Italiano, I'm telling you, they're not joking around. And the things that I like about them, they're flying under the radar, so nobody knows what's coming to them. So Fiorentina, I think, is going to be the big surprise of the Campionato this year.
I think Jovic has a good shot at being a great player. I mean, obviously, Real Madrid invested huge money into him years ago. But when you go to Real Madrid, if you're not ready in an instant, I mean, you sit on the bench and it's hard for a young player. So I think Florence is a really good place for him to be able to grow. Yeah. He already came out and he said, he wants to try to go for 30 goals. He wants to try to be the guy for Fiorentina. And honestly, I think this one's another really low-key good striker. Italiano already proved how good he could do with a talented number 9 with Vlahovic, because they service their striker. So I really like this move. I agree with you. I think Fiorentina, even with Mandragora is a great player for Torino as well. Golini is a better goalkeeper than they have. So low-key, they're making some right moves. And if we talk about Lazio as well, I have the list here. They got Marcos Antonio. They got your boy, Romagnoli, Luis Maximiliano, Cancellieri, Casale. So they're getting like some players that, again, maybe not
serve
big
purpose.
Names, not the ones that you would want,
those
but
low-key signings.
they could be under the radar and actually perform in a system that maybe Sarri's trying to go for.
And this is Sarri's second season also, so we're going to see a little bit more his philosophy integrated in, and hopefully he has the locker room better.
Yeah, and then for Lazio also, I think their biggest thing is always that they don't sell their best players. So I mean, Milenkovic, Savic, Luis Alberto, Immobile. But the thing is, they are not going anywhere. So
out,
it's a team that
sold.
Yeah. So there's a team that they have to usually keep these guys, and they're able to keep. So that's been for a while now.
See the season, like I think it's getting. I think honestly, I think next season is leading up to be better.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh,
No,
not better, much better.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why.
There's a serious challenge. I think for first place, even last year, I know Milan ended up winning, but they were a dark horse, right? Besides you, nobody really expected them to fight for the title. Now when you see that Milan are the reigning champions, they'll have a target on their back. Inter have gotten better. Juventus have gotten a lot better. He says that Roma's going to compete for the Scudetto and probably win it. Right? I think that's exactly what you said.
Win it, but I said
Marco, we don't have any target on our back. You guys have the target because you got Di Maria, you got Pogba, you got all of those big names. So now the target is on your back because you guys already, including the Gazzetta, the social media, the newspaper, the Instagram, everybody's talking about the Inter and Juventus. So the target is on your back and it's on your back too. And now, unfortunately, you put even Mourinho inside the situation because they bought Dybala. Now the target is even on Mourinho's back. So AC Milan is flying under the radar. We've been given us a
I don't think you understand. Target means one. Target, It's
no, but sometimes the target can shift from place to place. Sometimes
put a target on you.
Yeah, so we are happy to be on the background, just waiting for something to happen. If you guys are getting shot, then we coming in and we just pick up pick up whatever is left for us.
Don't even go to
You still want crumbs?
No. I didn't say crumbs.
The champions of Italy, this guy's talking about.
I didn't say anything about crumbs, but we have to be fighting for what we wanted to win this year because we're going to win.
Yes, I agree. I think Milan don't get enough respect right now. I think in part right now is because
we didn't sign anybody.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm saying. What rules what rules the transfer market is the journalists.
Adley. We got Adley finally back from. Let me tell you
I
something, guys.
Hardly.
Hey, let me tell you something, okay?
Hardly.
If we get the Catale,
How much do you know about him?
Huh? I have seen a lot of this guy here. I've been trying to Google him up, the Bruges and all the stuff. I've seen some of this stuff. The kid, they are saying, and a lot of people, they are claiming that this guy is the twin of De Bruyne in terms of skills, quality, positioning. The only thing that they say about this kid that is not loud enough. What do you want, a megaphone to say, hey, I'm here?
You can do the speaking for him.
Yeah, this kid here, I like him because he's very quiet, and this guy is gonna make his skills talk on the field.
So you like people that are quiet?
Yes.
That's
ironic.
weird, right?
Listen, did you ever see the people, the player that Inter gave up, Tonali, and then he became a big superstar all of a sudden? The first year was flying under the radar. All of a sudden, he came out from the underground and like a worm. Guess what?
So you got a bunch of worms on your team?
Oh yeah, yes. So you guys
Snakes and
want
worms.
your social media is going bananas. Pogba, Di Maria, those are, oh my God, look how many assists Di Maria made. 35 assists at PSG. PSG is not the campionato italiano, and you don't have all of those superstars playing next to you. I like to see how many assists Di Maria is going to be able to put this year.
I think
Assists. How did I say? What did I say?
You said it good.
Okay. So I like to see how many goals he's going to score. And this Pogba. It's another delete. Pogba was 10 years ago. Pogba now is an older, he's one of those
I
recycled
think
player.
Pogba is a great player. He's fallen off a little bit.
Oh.
So he does have to
Catch
come
up.
back. No, not that he's got to catch up, but he's got to show what he's still Pogba. Like
wait
Antonio
and
said.
see.
He has to be that
Wait
guy.
and see.
Right?
Watch Pogba.
Di Maria, I think he's fantastic. I think Di Maria is fantastic.
They're gonna tear up.
No, I think Di Maria is a good
And
player.
then La Lula. Every time you put it at the cup, then your Corriere, La Lula. What the hell is this, La Lula? Listen to me. You guys.
Lula, you know a lot about Lula. Maybe it's not just the newspapers, it's the nightmares that
You guys are so happy. You won already.
you get. No.
Congratulations, okay? Maybe.
I was giving you a compliment. Now
Maybe next year is going to be again AC Milan. This year is between Juventus and Inter. Between La Lula and, and Di Maria. And
Santa Maria.
Pogba and, whatever.
You know what they're calling it? You want a nickname?
What?
Vlogba.
Vlogba. Oh, Vlahovic, Pogba. Oh, my God. Plus, don't get me started. Plus, you got
We got.
the kid. No, him. He's
Oh.
got this kid, the Chiesa, that is coming back from injury, and he's coming back with double power, double speed, double power on his shot. He's got it all.
Robot.
I don't know. Those guys, they got it all. They have it all figured out. Allegri vince tutto. They're going for the big thing. They're going for the they're going for the Champions League.
He just
too.
makes it up as it goes.
Allegri has won the Champions League. Allegri has won the Champions League according to the newspaper that I've been hearing.
But the newspapers don't play games.
Well, listen, you playing games too, so.
But looks like the newspaper is
I'm gonna
working
tell
because
you
you're buying the
something.
newspapers.
You want my advice, guys? Please lower your expectation because you're going to be in for a big disappointment. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, I got one last topic, and we're gonna go play a game of football after this. Toronto FC just announced Bernardeschi. He signed for TFC just as we were doing this podcast. That's the third Italian that they've now signed after Criscito, after Insigne, now Bernardeschi, and we'll see if there's still more to come. Michael and I just came back from Toronto. We work with Toronto FC. I have to admit, Toronto, for me, is the calcio capital of North America. I've never met more Serie A fans and more engaged Italians anywhere I've gone, like in those numbers.
I thought it was Philadelphia.
No, Azzurri fan Phil is wild to say Philadelphia.
It was nice.
Toronto,
It was nice.
I have to say, was absolutely
More than New York.
incredible.
More than New York.
For me,
Yeah,
more
it was.
than
It
New
was
York.
definitely more than New York. It was
For
definitely.
me, more.
Between the Red Bulls and the NYCFC, where you got.
No, Toronto. When you go to the stadium, they had 28,000, I think, that were there. I would say like 30% were wearing like Italy jerseys.
What is the chance that Giovinco goes back over there if they ask him?
No, he's not going back.
I think Giovinco's demand is kind of high for them. What's the story with that?
I don't know.
I think he's going to stay at Genova. What, Pete? What are you saying?
He's on
Yeah,
Sampdoria.
He's a free.
Sampdoria.
Sampdoria, and he's a free agent.
It's not a free agent, is he?
Yeah, he's a free agent now.
Anyway, on Toronto. By the way, the people, we FaceTimed you. They were dying to speak to Antonio.
Well,
You said hello to a couple
I
of
did.
them.
Actually, I'm happy that they value my opinion, regardless of the winners over here. So
That little kid
So,
Giuseppe was giving it to you, though.
yeah. Oh,
little boy,
what
he's
did he say?
You-
What did he say about
He said
Milan?
Milan schifo.
Milan schifo.
Nasty
He
little
said same thing.
fella.
He said
I like
Juventus
that. I
schifo.
like that.
I like that.
No,
Oh man, but it was great. It was a great time for sure. Passed very quickly.
you guys should have said something. I would have come to Toronto. You know.
All right, so we
time,
have an
next
idea. We have an idea. Whatever, we'll just say it. We'll say it publicly. Who cares? We'll see if the people want this. We told you guys already. I think we need to do a Toronto tour this year where we go and we do like a live podcast, like a live event. Everybody comes,
Toronto.
tour in Toronto, and we go. We have some fun. Again, we'll do a pickup game, go to Toronto FC match, but we do like an event, a live podcast. People ask questions. We'll get like a stage. What do you think?
I'm in.
That was easy.
But we're going to fly or we're going to drive over there?
No.
I'm not
Do you
kidding.
need a visa, Anto?
I don't.
Okay.
I got
Making
two
sure.
passports, paisano.
Oh, yeah? Good.
Yeah.
I'm not getting in a 10-hour car ride with you.
What do you mean taking 10 hour cars?
No, we should take a vlog. We should do a vlog of our trip.
RV. Well, let's get an RV.
You're driving.
I'm driving?
Got it?
No, no.
Why?
We'll get there in 5 hours if he drives.
You're scared?
Very.
Okay.
But anyway, let's recap the situation, guys.
I think we're good.
Let's recap.
End the podcast on.
We are so happy to be back, sitting around over here and fighting over who's gonna win and who's gonna lose. Number one. Number two. This year, I think we're gonna bring a lot more than soccer into this beautiful conversation. Unfortunately, we're not gonna have Mark all the time with the live stream because he's a big shot right now. He's with CBS, but nevertheless. And Paramount Plus, and nevertheless, we're going to try to bring a lot more excitement to this spectacular streaming and podcast. Okay,
Bro,
we're
He's
gonna be
just
talking.
making stuff up as you go.
Yeah, I'm making stuff
Aldo,
up.
just end it because you don't know what you're talking about.
I know what I'm talking about.
It's like he got into
There
the
is
situation where he has
nobody
to keep
nobody
He's like figuring out the
nobody
next
knows
word.
nobody knows all
That's
the
all this
details.
conversations.
Yeah.
Nobody knows all the details, not even he does, and so it's gonna be a surprise. Okay, so stay tuned. Okay, and don't switch channel, please. Okay.
Yeah, Anto, you said it. We'll see you guys next time.
Take care. Ciao, ragazzi.
Ciao.
Guys.